about. And I mentioned public funding, but at the end of the day, the bulk of our funding is philanthropic. And so I would encourage your listeners to look at an organization like Father Joe's Villages, who is effective in what it's doing, that helps those not only who are on the streets, but the community at large.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
The San Diego Union Tribune and Retirement Strategies Group present the Union Tribune Community Spotlight Show with your host, Drew Schlossberg.
I'm Drew Schlossberg of the San Diego Union Tribune, and we are back with Gary Weitzman. He's the president and CEO of the San Diego Humane Society. He's talking about unbelievable growth of the organization in his almost 8 years that he's been here at the society. Of course, talking about the new behavior center, not really new, but new in this new location and so forth on this. And Gary, shout out the website because you have a great website. There's so much that people can get engaged with.
Yeah, sdhumane.org.
Right. You want to donate. You want to volunteer. You want to, take a look at all the wonderful things they have going on. And listen, you have a lot of volunteers that work with you, right?
Yeah, we do. We're really lucky, more than 5,000.
And that is just absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, thank you, heaven. We couldn't do it without them.
Well, and it's funny, and we're a pretty good region for volunteerism, whether it's in the space of animal welfare or it's literacy or, youth and, or kids in need and all that business. But like anything is that you have to experience it. And then I imagine you've had volunteers that have been with you for years and years,
we have.
And you just can't get rid of them sort of in a very cool space.
Yeah, we've had volunteers that have been there for over 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, who doesn't want to work with animals? Talk about general dog and cat training tips and how important that is.
Yeah, it's really important. And actually, the most important part is the short window that you have for dogs, which is about 3 to 4 months. For cats, it's really about 8 weeks to get them used to people. So you've been to our nursery, Drew. You know that it was the first nursery in the United States for kittens and opened up in 2009. Right. And those cats, actually kittens, it doesn't matter if we get them up to the weaning stage. If they aren't used to people, then game over. Right. So that's the real important part.
Right. So do you offer training classes for folks?
Yeah, we do. We do. And so what we've done is partner with local trainers that aren't staff of the Humane Society. Right. We've got so many great dog trainers here and cat trainers and rabbit trainers. Right. And they come in and they probably do 3 to 4 classes a week.
Is it free?
Oh, I wish. No,
yeah.
It's not. And
it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, to be honest with you.
The trainers get paid. We just give them the space.
Yeah, right. No, I think that's terrific. And anybody that has had, dogs that need training, like my daughter's dog, Jessie, who was going, really? Sammy, I don't know about this. It's either me or the dog. She goes, well, where are you going to live then, Dad? Okay, good. That makes sense, because I'd be out. The dog
You'd be out. Yep,
of course you'd be out and all that.
That's that org chart again.
It's the org chart on it. But seriously, it really makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. Our radio engineer, Ken Johnson, used to show dogs, and as much as into Westminster.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Top shelf on that aspect of it. But, one of the things you and I talk about, and I'm not sure if there's any animal movies coming out right now, but and I learned this from you when you came on early when another iteration of 101 Dalmatians was coming out. Oh, right. And you're going, oh, my goodness. Drew, expect 105,000 Dalmatians in the Humane Society in about a day and a half.
Right.
Why is that? Well, because people get all geeked up and they go get a Dalmatian, not knowing that a Dalmatian does take some work, and then they can't handle it, right?
They can't. Yeah, often you just have to be informed and know what you're getting into.
Right.
But every dog, they've got their strengths,
right,
and some have more aptitude for certain things than others. Every single dog can be trained. Every cat can be trained. We train rabbits. We train chickens. Chickens, actually, if you want to really cheer up, Google YouTube chicken training classes.
Really?
Those animals are much, much smarter than people give them credit for. But all the animals can be trained. It's the people that are sometimes tougher to train than the animals.
Well, listen, and it's a serious business, and, we can joke a little bit about it. But listen, if you are not ready to have an animal, whether it's a cat or a dog or, parrot or whatever it is, almost like kids, to be honest with you, don't get one.
Right,
You're not ready for it.
Or let us help you. I mean, we can get you ready for it.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot. We have we placed about 35,000 animals last year.
That is just remarkable.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we often have tons of animals that are ready for adoption. I was telling you as I came in, this is our slow season, the winter. But as soon as we hit about March to April, we double our census.
And why is that?
Well, that's a really good question. First of all, the babies. Baby season starts. So cats are seasonal breeders. And no cat would ever deign to breed in the winter. It's up to them, you know.
Of course it is.
So they breed all summer in the warmer weather. Same with all of our wildlife. Now, our wildlife center opened up last March, and we took care of about 13,000 animals there. But they're all babies, you know. They're orphaned or abandoned babies or hurt, wildlife, and so all those animals come in. But honestly, right now we have about 800 animals in our care. But give it a month, and that'll actually double, and then one more month it'll triple on a daily basis.
So how do you have the space to take care of all
these? Yeah.
Well, you find it, of course. That's what you do, right?
Well, you have to. You do have to find it. I used to joke that, pop a quarter, 2 quarters, or 10 quarters in a candy machine now, and a kitten will come out because we're running out of space. But we are lucky. We have good facilities, and
you have great facilities.
We expand them.
Right.
Yeah, and it helps. It helps.
Right. So on the training we were talking about, do you have on your website, here's just some general training deals you need to do with a dog or a cat or whatever?
Sure.
If you can't come in and get the training.
We do. We have frequently asked questions. We've got training tips.
Right.
We have the behavior center is on there, and there are other resources too. And that's really the key, because we will support everybody, but there are great minds out there that are trainers.
Right.
So we'll have their resources. I think I was on here when my book published last spring,
Yeah.
and that's about animal behavior as well. So
when's your next book coming out?
Actually, there's 4 that are. I know, but it's crazy.
So the thing about Gary Weitzman. First of all, the guy looks like he's 26. The guy doesn't age. So there's some pill he's taking that he's not sharing with us, and then he'll be docked his pay after the show on it. He's written a variety of books. So you average about a 1 hour sleep a night?
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies that you can stream at night now. So
exactly.
Fine.
So 4 books are in the queue?
Yeah, but National Geographic is really. They're prolific. So
you're prolific. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah. I just squeak it in for them.
I don't know how do you do that. Does Nina help you with this?
She does.
That's right. That's right.
She does.
Well,
she's shaking her head no, but she does.
Yeah. Hey, all hands on deck. One of the things I do want to shout out and give you credit for Gary. There obviously the vibe you have in this community. I don't. There's not one person I've met that said anything bad about what you and the staff have done, and that's a great testament to you on it. I mean, you could care less about the accolades, but it does help because obviously we all know you want to support people you like in the organizations. That is something to it. But you are very, very laser beamed on making sure that every one of your people that donate money is spent wisely. And Charity Navigator has really have you guys at top shelf.
Yeah, we're
talk about that, and you're very proud about that. Talk about that.
Well, it's evolved. I can't say that we always did things or do things even now flawlessly. Yeah. That's for sure. But we try. But yeah, we have 4-star Charity Navigator rating, and that's the highest. God knows why they picked 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have done 5. But it does help. We want to make sure that donors have confidence when they donate to us that we're actually using it. We're being good stewards. Right. We're supporting the cause. We're making sure our staff are the best they can be, all of that. So it's good. It's without that trust, we really shouldn't be doing the work that we're doing.
Well, and it's all about culture. Whether it's in the animal business, whether it's in the newspaper media business, whatever, we all know this. And the culture comes from leadership at the top. And it's important. And, people who poo-poo that stuff have not worked for an organization that is, clicking on all, decibels, or engines and all that. And because it comes from that aspect of it, and it takes work. Not every day is going to be great.
Right.
There's going to be times like when 4 million chinchillas show up at your doorstep.
Oh, right. Remember that.
You kidding me? I was there. A quick story over here. We had our community engagement meeting, and we just broke the news about this. And Gary said, before you leave, you're each taking 40. Do you remember that? Was it 40 or 50 you made us take?
Oh, at least. We had 322.
I know.
Yeah. only to be exceeded by the number of rats we took in December. Do you remember that story?
I do not.
The wonderful woman that was unfortunately living out of her van up in Del Mar. The entire community came to her aid. She had about 300, no, not quite. She had about 200 and something rats in the van. It sounds terrible, but she cared for all of them. They were well cared for. It overwhelmed her, and there's so many stories like that. But here's the beautiful part, and it made it all the way to Tokyo's newspapers. It was that the entire community of Del Mar came to her aid to get her out of that situation. She came to us and said, "Can you take the rats?" We did. We put them all up for adoption. We have about 50 left.
So people take rats as pets?
Oh, sure. Kids, schools. Rats are fantastic. This would be great. I'll be the rat ambassador on your show today because they are smart. They are friendly. We used to have a rat that actually would roll around the offices in an acrylic ball, and you'd come in and you'd look down, and Rocky'd be looking at you, and you knew he was judging you. But they are smart, brilliant little social animals, and think about them. They're a great pet. So we'd give everybody everything they needed: the caging, the food, everything. We still have 50.
Okay, Kenny, you're taking 49 of them. Talking about our engineer over here. We got about 20 seconds to go. Shout that website out again.
Oh, sdhumane.org.
Right, and really want to encourage our listeners, if you want to have a great experience, volunteering, donating. I want you to pay special attention because the very cool event happens in August called the Fur Ball that I've had
October now.
October. So look at the
4th.
calendar in October. Gary Weitzman, always a pleasure. Plan on being on the show immediately because the content you provide is great. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Drew. Always fun.
You bet. Gary Weitzman, he is the president and CEO of the San Diego Humane Society. I'm Drew Schlossberg, and you've been listening to another edition of the Community Spotlight Show here on Podcast Media Radio.
Thank you for listening to a podcast from Cloudcast Media, the digital media home for leading local brands. When it comes to amplifying your brand, a Cloudcast-sponsored show offers unbeatable value. Learn more at cloudcast.us.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
Welcome to Cloudcast 180, the 3-minute lightning round with changemakers here in San Diego. We're here with Ed Heiner, 20-year Navy SEAL, best-selling author, and education entrepreneur. Ed, welcome to the Cloudcast 180.
Thanks for having me.
Your book was called First Fast Fearless, so let's hit this fast and fearlessly. Real quick, you created a program to help change lives of high school students around the country. It's called SEALpreneurship. Tell our audience what it's all about.
Well, it's about leading yourself. Getting a PhD in me, I teach kids how to take care of themselves and lead themselves first, and how to be their own entrepreneur, intrapreneur, if you will.
Is it something you think public education is lacking, this concept of self-leadership?
Absolutely. It's a mindset that kids don't get. My son doesn't get it in his school. The kids don't get it. It's something that, we're educating them, but to be mentally tough and be able to take charge of themselves and accountable for themselves is very unique.
Okay. I've seen an overview of your curriculum, 23 evolutions, and you have a 23-minute podcast series. So what's up with 23?
Chromosomes, right? It's all in all of us. We're all the same. 99.9% of everybody in this world is the same. And we use those chromosomes, 23 pairs, which was one of the concepts we teach as swim buddies, never be alone. Mm-hmm. Always work with someone else, collaborate, and be out there.
Boy, that's a lesson for life for sure. Ed, you were in charge of basic and advanced training for the U.S. Navy SEALs, and I mentioned you're a 20-year SEAL. Tell our audience the greatest lesson from the SEALs that have changed you forever.
Probably in the back of a helicopter one night in Iraq before I was getting ready to fly into an Al-Qaeda target, it dawned on me that when a pilot said, you have this many souls on board, it dawned on me that the opposite of fear is love. It's not else. I don't fight for what I hate in front of me. I fight for what's beside me, behind me, that I love.
Wow, it's a powerful concept. Wow. You've talked a lot about the blue-collar scholar as a concept. Fascinating. Tell our audience, what is the blue-collar scholar as it relates to your SEALpreneurship program?
It's a mental concept where people take control. Don't outsource their life. Look, we're going to have people that are in white coats, suits and ties, doctors, PhDs. That's fine. Listen to that and learn your information from them. But eventually, you got to be that mechanic in your own life. You got to turn the wrench. This is happening. So basically, take control of your own life use what you can use from other people, discard it, what you can't, and make that your own. Leadership is something that you do. It's you do with people, not to them. And one of the best forms of leadership I learned in the back of that helicopter is called MOM.
Ed,
Focus on mission, others, me.
Mission, others, me. Ed, thank you for being here. This has been the Cloudcast 180. We hit it fast and fearlessly. We're out.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.